Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Bat Around. I'm your host, Paul Valley. With me, as always, from Pigtown Sports, he is Zach Moore. Orioles find a way to win 2 or 3 against a tougher Twins team than we thought they were going to be over the weekend, including Thursday before the day off on Friday. Orioles come away with the 2-1 victory on opening day and the 8-6 victory today after that 4-1 defeat yesterday. Zach and I were both at opening day, though we did not see each other. Zach, how was your opening day experience this year?
Oh, dude, the weather was absolutely perfect. The electricity around, the fan base was pretty awesome, especially around Pickles. I mean, I was around Pickles. I'd say I was probably there for a couple hours. I got there about 11:15 or so, and then we kind of left, I think, about 1. Usually head down to the Hilton after that, and even the Hilton had some good vibes around. You could tell people are excited. Lots of Pete Alonso jerseys early on, which is great to see. I think all in all, everything was. I couldn't have asked for a better day. How about you?
The weather was perfect. My wife and I did what we did last year, where we got a carbon copy day from last year. This year, we went to Taco Love. We don't really do the whole pickles thing anymore, and I know that oh, by the way, O's Edits loves you almost as much as they love Grant Wolfram. But I don't really do the whole pickles thing anymore because, man, when I was in my 20s, I used to go to Pickles every opening. This is my 18th straight opening day. It would have been 19th if they had one in 2020, but they did not. 18th straight opening day, and I spent the first 12 or so going to Pickles on every opening day. And, man, you are packed in there like sardines.
Yeah.
To the point where, it's uncomfortable, at least for me. Yeah. And being that I'm 41 years old now, I know making an appearance at Pickles is a thing, but I just don't care anymore. It's too much. The novelty's worn off, and I'm just man, I want to be able to be free and move. And I'm also not drinking currently, so then going to Pickles for me really has no purpose,
Right. That's kind of why I kind of migrate down to the Hilton because it's more open. They actually open up both sides of the hotel, so you got the really nice bathrooms and stuff.
Oh, nice.
You don't have to cram into Pickles trying to go into porta potties or anything. It's just a nicer laid back scene back there. But I actually got kind of lucky as I went over to the 105.7 tent, and there was this perfect little square along the wall right behind them. So I just hung out there and just talked to them pretty much the entire time.
Nice. Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Yeah. I was on 105.7 The Fan the day after opening day with Ryan Ripken and Nolan McGraw talking a little Orioles baseball, which was fun because a lot of people I know didn't know I was going to be on there, and they heard me whoa, you were on there. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. You go on there all the time, though, so that's just old hat for you. Today's show brought to you by Help My Gambling Problem. If you or a loved one has a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. That's 1-800-GAMBLER or helpmygamblingproblem.org for free confidential services. Today's show also brought to you by Warnken Law. When you need results in Baltimore, you don't play small ball. If you've been hurt in a crash, call 443-RESULTS or visit Warnken Law. That's 443-RESULTS or visit warnkenlaw.com. All right, so let's get right into it. We just talked about opening day. The weather was perfect. The crowd was electric. The pitching was that much better. Trevor Rogers, 7 shutout innings. I'd say picking up where he left off if he hadn't given up 6 runs in his final start last year, but the other 18 starts, he was absolutely phenomenal last year, pitching to a 1.81 ERA for the season, being voted O's most valuable player. Got the opening day nod, and he did not disappoint. 7 shutout innings from Trevor Rogers on Thursday. What did you see from Trevor? It looked like there were times when he got himself into a little bit of trouble, but the defense bailed him out a time or two. Thoughts on Trevor Rogers' opening day performance?
Confidence. That was the biggest thing that stood out to me was I think he learned from last year that he could do this. And opening day wasn't his cleanest performance. Now, the stat line looked fairly good, but let's be honest, he had some traffic on the base paths there, but he had the confidence to still pound the zone, trust his defense behind him, let him put the ball in play. He wasn't really trying to overpower anybody. That first inning, he got up 95, 96 a couple times, but he was content just hey, here's my best stuff. If you put it in play, I don't care because I know what I got behind me. And he just sat out there with confidence and just threw the ball over the plate, and he threw it well. And I was excited to see that. And honestly, from all 3 guys, even Shane Baz today, I was pretty excited with because they all just stood there just knowing that, and Shane didn't have his best stuff. So now I think I can honestly say I don't think all 3 of them had the best command coming out of spring training. Out of spring training, they were sitting around, I think all 3 of them were above 75% strikes thrown. Mm-hmm. And I don't think they were maybe above 60 this opening series. The weather could have been, a little weird. Opening day obviously was perfect, and it's hard to, grip a ball and really let it loose when you have all those nerves going and stuff. But with Bradish's start, the weather was rather stunk. And then today was okay. But, I mean, today was only the third time Shane Baz has ever pitched in below 60-degree weather. So, I mean,
wow.
It's a little bit different, trying to grip the ball when you're used to, you've been in Florida for, 3 months now, 2 months? So, I thought all in all they did pretty good, even though the command wasn't there. They all navigated traffic fairly well, and Baz settled down after that 3-run double. I think he only gave up 2 real hits, but obviously the one in center field's considered a hit, but it's an error to me. Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. No, and you look at Trevor Rogers. It's his first opening day assignment. And he the guy's he wants to be here. He's gonna be looking for for an extension. You know what I mean? And he wants to prove that last year wasn't a fluke. 'Cause a lot of people around the country seem to think that last year, that he's not that guy. And of course, he's not going to pitch to 1.81 ERA this year. But he might pitch a 2.5 to a 3 ERA, and that's still damn good. So there's the jitters, and you said 95, 96 in the first inning. That's just being amped up and all that adrenaline pumping. Kyle Bradish, coming out there trying to prove that the Tommy John surgery is behind him. He's making his first start of the year on his hoodie night. They're giving away the Kyle Bradish hoodie, and there's going to be some, and it's the first game of the year for him. There's going to be some juices flowing there, and the first inning was phenomenal. Struggled a little bit in that second inning. At third inning, there was some stuff that wasn't really his fault. With a lot of run to score, but I had no issues with the way that Kyle Bradish threw. Just 3 walks. He had 3 walks. Trevor Rogers had 4 walks and a hit by pitch. And then Shane Baz, you just got a 5-year, $68 million contract extension. You breezed through the first inning on 9 pitches.
9 pitches,
yeah. And then that second inning, with the hit, the walk, the hit, the 2 singles, the hit by pitch, then a seeing eye single that barely got over Mountcastle's glove, and great play by Jeremiah Jackson to keep that ball in the infield and stop 2 runs from scoring. And then the 9-hitter, man, the 9-hitter torched them today with he came up with the bases loaded twice, had a 3-run double, just got past the diving glove of Tyler O'Neill. And then,
do you think Beavers catches that?
Dude,
with him being a couple steps faster than O'Neill?
I don't know, because the ball was smoked. It was 107.3 miles an hour off the bat.
I see that, and I felt like it was in the air for 19 seconds.
Yeah.
It was weird.
I mean, maybe Beavers catches it, but Tyler O'Neill, he went after it. He was, he had a dive that looked like it was pretty close. Probably didn't have a chance of catching it, but he gave it his best effort. Maybe Beavers catches it, but it's a
big if.
It's a big if, exactly. That ball was absolutely hammered. The 9-hitter drives in 4 runs for the Twins today. But after that, Baz, he had that 4 runs on 4 hits and hit by pitch in the second inning. The other 4 in the third innings, 3 hits, including that double that shouldn't have been on the ball that got lost in the sun, and no
the other
runs.
2, I believe, were 73 and 75 mile-an-hour exit velocities.
Yeah, it was a weird second inning for Baz, and he looked really good otherwise, I thought. Really minimized damage there. The fact that he pitched into the 6th inning after giving up 4 runs in that second inning really speaks a lot to his stick-to-itiveness, for lack of a better term, and just his grind, that grind factor that he has. And, you just signed this 5-year, $68 million extension, and you're making your first, before you ever even threw a pitch in anger for this team, and now you're making your first start, and it's at home. Probably juices flowing there, nerves flowing too. I don't really have an issue with that. I think that he's going to lock it in. And again, it wasn't a ton of hard contact. It was really that double and the bases clearing double, and that's about it.
Yeah.
The thing about Trevor Rogers, the Twins had a really weird approach with him, because they took 4 walks. They took a hit by pitch, which I think was on a 3-2 count anyway. He allowed 7 base runners in the second, third, and fourth innings combined. But he also, in that game, got 10 batters to make an out on 3 pitches or less, including all 3 double plays. That amounted to 13 outs on just 25 pitches of his 21 outs. The other 8 outs he got on 63 pitches. So he was able to really hold them at bay, despite having a lot of traffic there in the second, third, and fourth innings. he also got some great defensive help from Kobe Mayo, who made that really stellar play, and I think that play from Mayo kind of calmed Mayo down a little bit, because everybody's questioning the defense, but he makes that great play to start a double play to get them out of a huge jam there in the second or third inning, I think it was. And then he comes up and he leads off the next inning, has a really good at bat, ends up striking out on a 3-2 pitch, but he hammered a baseball down the line. He's been making
I believe, right?
Yeah, he hammered a couple of balls in that at bat. He looks like a different guy. A completely different guy. Looks really confident at the plate right now. And I think that the defense, and he started a double play the next inning too. I really think that the defense kind of helped him calm down. He's like, oh, I can play some defense here now. I don't really have to worry about that. Let's just focus on hitting now. I really liked what I saw from Mayo there. But Trevor Rogers, what I'm wondering about him, how does that look if he's facing a team like the Yankees? And we know that he was amped up. It's his first opening day start for any ball club, but he's trying to still make an impression with this ball club. And he's facing a bad Twins team. Let's be honest. This Twins team probably isn't going to be very good this year. They're a lot better than we anticipated them being, but they're probably not going to be that good this year. Do you have any concerns with the way Rogers allowed that much traffic to a lesser team moving forward? Or again, are you just chalking that up to the circumstances?
It's tough for me to chalk up anything. We were 0-6 against the Twins last year. They have our number, and they were putting guys on. And look, they're still professional baseball players, regardless. So if you throw it around the plate, these guys are good enough to hit it. So, I mean, he navigated traffic, and I don't think it really matters too much against the hitters. Like, if you're facing the Yankees or not, he did it last year. He navigated through some traffic through times and against good teams. He did it against Boston a few times. I mean, he's had his dominant moments too, but he had traffic at times and still navigated around it, and it was nice to see him come right back and do it again this year. Am I that concerned about it? No, because he's just building up a little bit of consistency of knowing how to do it, knowing what pitch he can do, knowing he can trust his guys behind him. So, I mean, if he goes out there and just dominates all these younger teams and lesser teams, as we should say, I don't think that makes him any better of a pitcher, because now he's not used to it when he is in that position in Yankee Stadium in the sixth inning or something like that, with Aaron Judge up. Now all of a sudden he's got a little bit of confidence going like that. Okay, I've made this pitch in the past. It worked. I like that kind of stuff when it works, obviously. So, but yeah, I'm not that concerned about it. I think he's shown enough to where we should maybe not be that concerned when he's on the bump anymore. I mean, with understanding he's going to have a blow up or two. Everybody does.
Yeah, and the funny thing is, we're nitpicking right over 7 shutout innings, because it's like, well, he walked 4, he hit a guy, he allowed 3 hits, but he also threw 7 shutout innings on 88 pitches. Also, were you at all surprised that he was brought back out for the 7th inning? And he got through the 7th inning really quickly. What does that tell you about Alvarez's managing style, if anything at all? First game managing at the big league level, with a new ball club, albeit, and Trevor Rogers is allowed to go out there and throw 7 innings of shutout ball on opening day.
Well, he kept his pitch count at a manageable position there. So, if he was at 80, I don't think he was coming back out. But I mean, look, Craig's going to trust his guys, especially early on. I mean, I think he understands the bullpen that he has is probably not the team's strength. And if Rogers is your opening day guy, you're probably your most confident arm right now. I'd leave him out there. But I think pitch count had a lot to do with it too. But it's nice to see. I mean, he navigated some I would say some tough pitching matchups. I think maybe made one mistake today. But throughout the whole series, I think he did a pretty good job getting the right guys in there.
Well, and I'll tell you, former management, and I'm not talking about Mansolino, I don't know, regardless, that Rogers gets, despite pitch count, I don't know that Rogers gets that 7th inning on
Probably
opening
not.
day. And I don't know that Shane Baz is allowed to start the 6th inning today.
I think Shane Baz would have been pulled in the 3rd or 4th if it was Brandon Hyde.
Yeah, absolutely.
They've depleted the whole bullpen.
And that's funny because the Orioles did deplete the whole bullpen today. They used every single pitcher except for Dietrich Hens, who pitched yesterday.
Which I think they needed to, because I was even looking at even Rico hadn't thrown for 7 days.
Yeah.
So you eventually, I think they wanted to, and I think all teams are doing it too. They want to get these guys in because you have those 2 days off prior to opening day. So yeah, everybody pretty much scrimmages, but if you're not getting to a point where you're using some of these guys, they're going 5, 6, 7 days, which is not good for a reliever. So I think at some point you probably had to empty it up a little bit, which the Twins are probably going to have to do tomorrow now that they use McAble today. So I mean, but yeah, I think you played it right.
The Orioles offense, 5 hits in the first game, 5 hits yesterday. They exploded today for 8 runs on 12 hits, but the first 3 innings did not look good for the team.
Yeah.
Now let's be honest. Joe Ryan was exactly why a lot of Orioles fans were clamoring for the Orioles to trade for him.
Every team.
He
Not
was
just Orioles.
He was so, even from my seat in the fourth row of down the left field line in the upper deck, on opening day, he was incredible. He was just dotting pitches. He was painting corners. He was throwing what he wanted when he wanted and throwing it for strikes. I think he threw 1 ball in his first 18 pitches, 2 balls in his first 18 pitches. He was absolutely phenomenal. And Alex Fast put this out there. He got 16 whiffs in that game, which was phenomenal. He had his second highest curveball usage of his entire career, up from 12% last year. And 6 of his 7 strikeouts were on the curveball. So it seems like, Zach, he went into that game with a game plan, knowing that. And between Ward, Alonso, Gunnar, Rutschman, Kowser, and O'Neill, the highest batting average of those 6 guys against curveballs last year was Pete Alonso at 232. And but against fastballs, the lowest average amongst those guys was like 248, and that was Kowser. So he went in there with a game plan. Do you think that the Orioles are going to have a similar game plan against him by a lot of pitchers who throw who throw a decent amount of breaking stuff until they can prove that they can hit it with consistency?
I think teams will probably try, but you're not going to run into too many guys that can throw the ball like Joe Ryan can. So I think they're going to definitely try that. And we saw it the next day with Taj Bradley. He had guys kind of all over the place a little bit. Most of last year in 2025, they were sitting on the fastball a lot and they were hammering it. Gunnar had great numbers against him. Kowser had great numbers against him. And then they come out and he was throwing a lot of changeups and a lot of split fingers. And split finger, I believe, is not something he threw a whole lot in 2025. So, yeah, I think these teams are going to switch it up on him a little bit. And this is kind of what the Twins have done in the past to the Orioles, too. And that's why they were 0-6 against them last year. They switched things up on them. And I think it was fine. I mean, Taj Bradley, when you look at the Stuff Plus from like Thomas Natesco and Pitch Profiler, I think may have had the best stuff day of his career.
Oh, he was the best I've ever seen. I've seen him pitch against the Orioles a number of times, and he's usually pretty terrible. He was the best I've ever seen him yesterday, and he was really taking advantage of that right-handed batter's box lower corner.
Yeah.
I saw him dot
at 100 miles an hour.
Oh my gosh! And that pitch, he got a couple of strikeouts in the first couple of innings on that pitch. It's unhittable. If you're a right-handed batter, you can't get the barrel to that ball. You can't find that ball, and it's a strike every time. If you're a left-handed batter, 100 miles an hour at that part of the plate, good luck. Good luck.
It's typically a pop-up.
Yeah, like Bradley was the best I've ever seen him yesterday. Yeah. Bradish, he started out good. I don't know what it was about Bradish. Just wasn't the best I've seen him. Like you said earlier, he didn't have it yesterday. He wasn't bad. Yeah. He wasn't bad. I mean, if that's
just the elite command wasn't there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that what was the temperature at game time? Like 43 degrees. Yeah. It was blustery. It was windy yesterday, cold. And then making your first start and trying to prove that that Tommy John surgery is completely behind you. So I can give him a pass for that. Really, it was just the offense was just so bad yesterday. 16 strikeouts. They mustered just 5 hits, so they did walk 6 times. They loaded the bases twice in that game and weren't able to bring anything home. And that's a game where you get 1 hit in either of those situations, it's a completely different ball game. Completely different ball
100%.
game. But they weren't able to get it done. They ended up losing that ball game 4-1. And you're looking at it, and it's this team with this offense and how highly touted they are. To see them score 3 runs on 10 hits in their first 2 games combined. A lot of fans, myself included, I'm writing it off to look, it's the beginning of the year. Of course, that they can struggle right now. It doesn't mean that they're going to struggle all year. But a lot of people are watching this saying, oh, it's the same team from last year. And then again today, not getting the bats going in the first 3 innings, strikeouts there, not having great approaches, a lot of first and second pitch outs today, especially, and then letting the bottom of the Twins order do all this damage against you. It was nice to see them finally bust out there in the fourth inning today with Tyler O'Neill. But up to that point, were your concerns growing about this offense, or are you just kind of like, you know what, it's just one of those days?
I posted about it yesterday, and all of their struggles came from Ward, Henderson, and Alonso. They were 1-24 with, I think, 9 strikeouts or something like that. So the bottom of the lineup, I saw some good things from. Like we talked about, Mayo looked good. Blaze had a couple nice at-bats. Ryan Mountcastle came off the bench and had a nice at-bat. Jeremiah Jackson's had a couple nice at-bats kind of strung together. I thought even though Cowser struck out a couple times, I thought, he was seeing a lot of pitches and working things. Mayo was working counts and stuff. I felt like the bottom of the lineup was definitely leaps and bounds better than what we saw last year. The production just wasn't there. Now, I still think the offense was okay. Because there was one point against Bradley. They had 4 straight balls hit off of him over 100 miles an hour, 2 were for outs. Mm-hmm. Right at the left fielder that Mayo hit, scudded that ball.
Oh, absolutely. Missile.
And I forget the other one. I forget which one it was. But either way, I mean, the Jeremiah Jackson one was over 100. That scored a run. And then the next one, I think, it was the one that somebody dove for and threw the guy out of first. I forget who it was. It might have been Ward. But yeah, over 100 miles an hour. So they were hitting him. And, and I think they got stiffed a little bit, and I think that gave the Twins a little bit of confidence. And, I think the tables turned a little bit at that point because, hey, at that point you were twice with bases loaded and only scored 1 run or something like that. So, yeah, I mean, momentum shifted a little bit after that. But I think all in all, the offense was showing signs of being better than last year. It just didn't work until, the 5th inning today or something like that?
Yeah.
So, but hey, how many times last year did we look at a 4-run deficit or a 3-run deficit and say, "Oh, game's over, dude"? Game's over.
Every time, and this was a courtesy of Tim Barbalace, when the Orioles were down by 4 runs or more last year, they were 0-18. 0-18. Third game of the year down 4-0, and they come back and win that ball game. And that's a big deal. That's a big deal for this ball club to give them confidence. Like last year, it could be 2-0 in the third inning, and you're like, "Well, this game's over." And now they're down 4-0 heading into the second at bat of the game. And it's like, you kind of start to get that feeling the bats aren't doing anything. And then Tyler O'Neill comes up with 2 runners on in the 4th inning, gets a 3-1 fastball and hammers that thing into the left field seats for a 3-run homer to get the Orioles right back in the game. And it was, you could feel the team exhale after he hit that home run. It's like, oh, thank God. We finally hit a home run. This lineup that has 4, 5, 6 guys in it that can hit 30 home runs, and we don't have one through 30 through what was it? Through 21 innings of baseball. We don't have a single home run. What the hell is going on here? He hits that home run. There's a collective sigh of relief from the ball club. Dylan Beavers with the big 2-run double there in the 6th inning to give the Orioles a very brief lead. Just something just clicked with this team. Starting in that 4th inning, you started seeing a lot better at bats, guys getting on base, guys coming up with big hits. I've heard Dylan Beavers more than once referred to as Kyle Tucker light. Yeah. I saw him foul off a couple of 2-strike pitches in that at bat that and spit on some pitches that, he's got an elite eye from what we remember seeing from him last year, and in the minor leagues it was even better. When I saw him foul off the one pitch that was outside, he basically took out of the catcher's glove. I was like, "Ooh, he's coming through with a hit here." And then he laces that 2-run double. How are you feeling watching that game after, and then seeing the O'Neill home run, seeing the Beavers 2-run double? They immediately gave it right back. Geraldo comes in with 2 outs in the top of the 7th inning, and he immediately gives up the solo home run to tie it up at 5-5. But I still was confident the Orioles were not losing that ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I questioned why Geraldo came in. I think a lot of people probably did too, because you knew you had Rico Garcia and Wells and Cano and just a lot of other people you probably could have used. Part of me was wondering, like, are they putting him in this position early to see if he can win a spot? Because Kittredge isn't too far away. Mm-hmm. Like, and you have a tough roster spot looming. Like, is this his chance to prove? Like, hey, I can go back to back and give you some quality innings, but he didn't. So that was probably my only question mark of the whole series, honestly, from Craig. But we don't know why that choice was made, and it could have been that reason there. But I mean, all in all, I think I'm with you. I think as long as they held a 1-run lead with Tyler Wells and Helsley coming in, I felt pretty confident. Now, Wells wasn't sharp today, but I still have confidence in Wells.
I have a ton of
he looked good the
confidence
first day. He pitches up in the zone, and it just seemed like he couldn't get that changeup down today, and that was the big difference. When he buries the changeup, he's tough to hit, and just today, and it kind of fits the mold of everybody we saw really good on the mound. They just didn't have that pinpoint control that we saw in Florida. It was good, but it wasn't good enough, and it got hit a little bit and allowed some traffic. So, but I'm not concerned just yet because I've seen Tyler Wells bury that changeup quite often.
Oh, I'm quite confident that, especially when Kittredge gets back, that the back end of your bullpen is going to be locked down. It's going to be Wells, it's going to be Kittredge, and it's going to be Helsley, and they're going to lock a game down. If you've got a lead in the 7th inning, you're probably winning that ball game with those 3 guys. It takes you back to those Bob days, Brock O'Day, Britton. I think that they're going to be really strong in the back end. I've never looked at Yarmil Geraldo and thought this is a quality big league reliever. He's got electric stuff, but he doesn't know where the hell it's going.
Exactly.
And too many walks, too many home runs allowed. That was a big bugaboo for him last year, and they mentioned that on the broadcast. And this is the second time that he's basically walked the bases loaded since last year, and then had to have Rico come in to save his hide afterwards. And I think Kevin Brown was misquoting the game that it happened in last year, because it was not Cade Stroud that walked the bases loaded. It was Yarmil Geraldo. It was Yarmil Geraldo. Yeah, and Rico Garcia came in, struck out the side, and Kevin said that the Orioles went on to win that game. No, they lost that game. They ended up losing that ball game, but Rico came in and kept them in.
He was the 11th or something, wasn't it?
Yeah. They ended up losing that ball game right after they had basically, I think they had tied it up late. I think they tied it up in like the 8th inning, and then in the top of the 8th, and then Geraldo put them in that mess in the bottom half of that inning, and then Boston ended up scoring in like the 11th inning. But they lost that game, but Rico Garcia put himself on the map for the Orioles there. Did it again today, comes in, bases loaded, 2 down, gets a 3-2 pitch for strike 3 to get them out of the inning. And the hitter, what was it? Was that Trevor Larnach who challenged, or was it Walden?
Yeah.
Or
I think it was
Wallner, who challenges.
It might have been Wallner. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was Wallner. Challenges his strike 3 call on the most obvious strike that you could ever possibly challenge.
That's bad.
I think he was just embarrassed. You know what I mean? That pitch, he got frozen. That pitch.
It was a nasty 2-seam.
It was perfect. It was a perfect pitch in that situation for Garcia to get out of it. The Orioles come back the next inning, score 3 runs. He got credit with the victory. Yeah, he got the victory today. Rico Garcia got the victory for that 1 strikeout. Orioles made it well worth his while there. Just an all-around solid performance from the team today. The bullpen has me a little worried. 4 runs in 10 innings. Tyler Wells has given up a run in each of his 2 innings of work, well, in an inning and 2/3, but each of his 2 appearances. Yennier Cano looks like the Yennier Cano pre-2025.
Sinker working again.
The sinker working again. He's added a splitter. He gets Byron Buxton to strike out in a big situation late in the game there for the team.
That ball moves so much.
That
was vintage Cano.
It was filthy. And just the vintage Cano stare down on the strikeout.
Yeah.
He looked really, really good. Grant Wolfram, his stuff, man. And it looks like he has a little bit of poise on the mound that I didn't see last year from him. I was really impressed with the way that he threw the baseball today. The bullpen has, and again, Geraldo is the one that I trust the least. Him and Dietrich Enns, and one of those guys isn't going to be here and it's probably going to be Geraldo because, well, but Enns is your second lefty, right? And
yeah, but when does somebody Aikens come back?
When he does come back, whenever that is, but I don't know, man. The bullpen's allowed 4 runs. They didn't make it easy today. I felt like after the Orioles took that lead that they were going to win that ball game, but they did have me sweating a little bit there late in the ball game. But all around a good performance. Go ahead.
I pulled some number from the relievers here. So like you said, 4 runs in 10 innings, gave up 9 hits, 1 home run, 6 walks, 18 Ks though.
Wow.
So 3.5 ERA from the bullpen in the series here, which I think is fine. A 2.72 WHIP. So FIP. I'm sorry, 2.72 FIP. So they pitched okay, and then a 1.29 WHIP. Obviously, they allowed with some walks and stuff. Didn't hit anybody, which is a good start. But I feel like we expected them maybe to implode, and I think they did okay, especially for the first series. We knew what we were getting out of Geraldo, so I mean, that is what it is. But I think all in all, they pitched fairly well.
Anthony Nunez is somebody
Nasty.
who I want to talk about. I mean,
Nasty.
he's the first Oriole in franchise history to make his debut as a relief pitcher, face 6 hitters, retire all of them, and strike out at least 3 of them.
Yeah,
Like I saw a TikTok the other day of him, like it was his girlfriend sitting in her car outside the stadium. She's like, we're waiting to see if he made the team. And then he comes to the door and he's got this big smile on his face. And it's just like this wholesome moment. She's so proud of him, and he's so beside himself, happy that he made it was just a really nice video. And so
Cool.
then to see him go out there and pitch the way he did yesterday, absolutely phenomenal. Hopefully, I'm really hoping he carves out a really nice spot for himself on this ball club. The arm's there, the talent's there. Really excited to see what his season looks like. Today's show brought to you by Glenn Clark Radio. If you missed anything from Glenn Clark Radio this week, including conversations with Chris Davis, John Heyman, Mike Bordick, and more, you can find them in the Glenn Clark Radio Week in Review feature at PressBoxOnline.com. And as always, watch or listen to GCR every Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. at PressBoxOnline.com/radio, or right here on PressBox's Facebook and YouTube pages. A few tidbits from this series that I wanted to talk a little bit about. I saw you post on Thursday that you thought you'd be a fan of the ABS, but you've really thought it interrupted the game. I think there were like 5 challenges on opening day, and you were not a big fan of it. 10 challenges today, most of the game to this point this season, 7 overturns. Ryan Helsley, first Orioles pitcher to challenge, and he turned a 9th inning Josh Bell walk into a K. Got Twins manager Derek Shelton ejected because he argued that Helsley didn't challenge the call in time. I counted it. It was 1.5 Mississippis. It was 1 Mississippi, 2, and that's when he tapped the hat. And
he basically get, 4 seconds anyway.
I think 3 or 4 seconds, but he challenged it as soon as he realized that the pitch wasn't.
I don't think Shelton saw it in the shadow. I think he saw the second one, which was like almost like 5 or 6 seconds. So I get it, but I mean he was just trying. But
yeah, and it was, and I loved it because you saw where the pitch landed, right? And I'm watching this, and I couldn't believe that Adley didn't challenge it. I'm like, that's a strike.
So they were talking about it. It looked like he did turn around and talk to the umpire. So you can verbally ask too. You don't have to touch the helmet. So they were wondering if maybe when he turned around, because they were having a conversation, him and the umpire. So they were wondering if maybe he did that. It'd be cool if one of the beat writers could ask.
That it would be something to know if he did or not. Because I was like, it's definitely, you've only got 1 challenge left. It's the ninth inning. Like, let's do this. And Helsley, that dude, pitchers know the strike zone, and a lot of times you're nervous that the pitcher can be what might be emotional about it. But that pitch was a strike. It was a beautiful pitch, and as soon as he challenged it, and they called it strike 3, it's like, well, yeah, it was a beautiful pitch. That dude's been coming out here just firing BBs. He hit 101.9 on a fastball on opening day. Had 102 today. You've got a guy out there, and it's like, man, we were really nervous about Felix Bautista maybe never pitching again. And you sign a free agent closer who throws 102 miles an hour. He throws harder than any pitch that Felix Bautista threw last year.
Yeah.
And then he developed that splitter too. He looks absolutely filthy.
I don't even think he threw that today.
I don't think he did either, but he threw a couple on opening day. I'll tell you.
They look good.
He looked really good, but he made me nervous on that base hit that he gave up on opening day. I had to do a double take because it said it was a 4-seam fastball, which I had seen the lowest one I saw was like
92, yeah. I think that was a splitter he couldn't get on top of.
Right, and I was like, every 4-seam has been 99.6 or higher, and then that one was 92.3. Yeah. And I looked at, and then the very next pitch was like 100.6, and I was like, okay, so either they got the pitch wrong or he tried to take something off to fool the guy because he knew he was going to get started early. It resulted in the base hit, but then he ends up getting the next guy out anyway. he's been as advertised, better than advertised. 'Cause a lot of people were nervous after what happened with him against the Mets, but to me that was clearly a pitch tipping situation because he finished the year. He didn't give up a run in his last 6 outings with the Mets last year. After he realized he was tipping pitches, he's looked absolutely phenomenal in his first two. And that was a moment that we're going to always remember, that challenge there and the manager getting ejected in the ninth inning today. Just a phenomenal performance by Helsley to start the year and a really great way to end the series. Orioles winning 2-3 against the Twins. You still feel like the ABS system, you're not a big fan of it?
I tell you what, it's kind of funny. Is all we ever heard was, "Oh, these umpires suck." This they're ruining the game, this and this. And then every freaking challenge that we're seeing outside of CB Buckner are 0.3 inches away, 0.1 inches away. Like, these guys are actually a lot better than we gave them credit for, aren't they? Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just to me. I don't know if I like right now. I don't like it. It's nice to get it right, but like, who's saying it's right? Like, just a computer generated box. Like, how do we really know that it's right? That's what I don't get. Like, I like the human element. I like the mistakes because it changes ball games. Like, I mean, you play, you grow up, and you always have to adapt to the umpire's zone. Mm-hmm. And I mean, these guys are consistent. There's not like you only hear about the bad when it's really bad. And look, everybody has a bad day in life, in their job. Like, and I get it. Like, but let's be honest for a second. Baseball didn't want this. I think the betting sites wanted all this because it changes outcomes and stuff like that. I think this is all geared towards betting. Mm-hmm. So it's just weird. Like, the more, and I think half the reason why I don't like it too is because you have all these challenge systems and all these replays and all these cameras, and you still can't get it right. Mm-hmm. And now we're relying on a computer generated thing for something else that you can't get right to make you think that it's right. I don't know. It might grow on me, but right now I just think it's the dumbest thing in the world.
I mean, it for sure interrupts the game. Like, it may be a quick thing every time, but when you have 10 of them in a game,
right, in a 1-0 count, like, come on. Like, I understand, like, it changes in a bat, but who cares about a ball? Like, come on, man.
And it like, today's game was 3 hours and 17 minutes.
Yeah.
You don't have too many 3+ hour games. They're usually 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 45 minutes. The long one's maybe 2:57. 3 hours and 17 minutes, and it's weird because I used to love 3-hour games. Today's game felt long. Today's game felt long. You had 10 challenges. You had 7 overturns. And then there's part of me that is kind of like a little bit of a head scratcher because Blaze Alexander, in my opinion, on that stolen base, the ball beat him by a country mile, right?
Mm-hmm. Great slide.
Great slide. He was not touched. He was safe, and there were multiple angles that showed that. And New York still said he's out.
They went with the call on the field, but like
the call on the field stands.
Yeah.
And I look at that and I'm like, these umpires are being showed up time and time. We're 4 days into the season. 4 days into the season. How many times have we seen these umpires being showed up? Salvador Perez got 3 low balls overturned to strikes in the same game. Eugenio Perez, again, for the Reds, had back-to-back pitches that would have been strike 3, turned into balls to earn a walk that CB Buckner called a strike.
And one was 0.3 inches away with 2 strikes and bases loaded, and you're not swinging at that?
Mm-hmm. And I'm looking at this.
And people were arguing with me I put it on Jeff Passan's tweet, like, why aren't you not covering the plate? And people are like, oh, because it's a ball. Who said it's a ball besides a computer?
Right. Well, and
you had bases loaded with 2 strikes, and you didn't swing at a ball that was 0.3 inches away?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, cool, you got it right, and it worked out in your favor. You also had a 772 slugging with 3 home runs on that same pitch last year. And you're content with a ball call? Like, swing the damn bat, bro.
Right. And look, Eugenio Suarez, 49 home runs last year, but look, that guy's not a great hitter in my opinion. He's like a beer league softball player. Like, maybe he's going to take whatever he can get. I don't know, man. Like I agree with you. When a pitch is that close and you're not trying to protect the plate, especially in a bases loaded situation like that, I just look at this and I see so many umpires getting showed up. I don't know if it's showed up or shown up. Showed up sounds weird, but shown up I don't think is a word.
I think shown Shown
Showing up.
sounds,
Yeah.
like whatever.
Yeah.
I get yelled all the time for misspelling stuff on Twitter, so don't ask me.
But these umpires being shown up time and time again. Did you see that female umpire in the game yesterday? I can't remember which game it was. Pitched right down the middle of the plate, and she called the ball. And it was like the easiest overturn of all time. 4 days in. But I don't know. I don't know if there's something to him being the call on the field being upheld, because it's like, man, they're making our umpires look really bad, and like, I don't know. I don't know how much.
I think they always did that from even last year or the year before. Like if they went with the call on the field a lot if they could,
and it was clear, like it was clear that he wasn't tagged, but maybe it just. There was nothing that showed space between the glove, but like you could tell that
ball
he
didn't move, glove didn't move, pants didn't move, like
there was nothing in there about it.
ABS to me is for, like you said, for that female umpire, like it's good for that stuff, but like a 0.1 inches, 0.3 inches, like I don't know, like you said, 10 today, maybe drop it down to only 2 strikes or something like that, like is it a big deal? Now, if this is where you kind of get into trouble, and so they have to do it the way they're doing it, but it's just stupid. Like a 1-0 count, and you're challenging a pitch, so it's not like, I get it, between a 1-1 count and a 2-0 count's a big deal, but is it really? Because these guys are still throwing 95 to 100 miles an hour with 16 inches movement, so like you're not seeing a fastball 2-0, not in today's game. So does it really matter? Like.
That's
that
a
part
fair
does
point.
slow the game down.
And then you also look at it, and I see, for me, most of the challenges today I felt like were in crucial parts in the game. Where it turned,
good.
It turned what would have been a 4-pitch walk into a 3-1 count, or what would have been a walk on Josh Bell into a strikeout. And that happened a couple of times where it turned a walk into a strikeout. So I was fine with it. On opening day, I felt like it kept interrupting the game.
Yes.
And Basayo had no business challenging the one that he challenged on opening day. That ended up being, that was strike 3, and he challenged it, and like it was a ball. I mean, it was a strike, and it wasn't even close to being a ball. Stuff like that, it's like, come on, man, that's a pride thing. And
I think we just lost it. Yeah.
No, I'm my connection. I don't know what's going on. I thought it was yours, but apparently it's mine. But I don't know, man. I think I'm okay with it, because today it actually added a lot of excitement to the game. I'm not okay with it, like you said, if it's like a 1-0 count in the second inning. Like, what are we doing here? But we'll see how it plays out. I'm sure that we'll get into a groove with it. And the next thing you know, it won't feel like anything to us. It'll just be part of the game. But it's something that we're gonna have to get used to.
It'll grow on me eventually, but. I think we lost you again. Oh, there you are.
Man, I'm here, man. I don't know what's going on. This is very frustrating for me.
I'm here, but I'm there.
Doing this, but yeah, right. Sounds like an Alanis Morissette song. So there were a couple of things that I've seen that I saw Albarnez do that surprised me this series. Yesterday, it was. I mean, Ryan Mountcastle 3 for 4 in his career against Taj Bradley with 2 home runs, and he's on the bench. He doesn't even pinch hit until Bradley's already out of the game. I thought that was an opportune time to get him a start. I mean, he started today, and went over 3 today. Doesn't really hit right-handed pitching well, but he hits Taj Bradley well. I thought that was interesting. I also thought it was interesting. Late in the ball game, you're talking bottom of the 7th inning when Rutschman pinch hit for Mountcastle. Did you guys lose me again?
Nope.
Okay. You were frozen. Rutschman pinch hitting for Mountcastle. Look, it worked out. He got an RBI double. And it wasn't that I didn't think he should be pinch hitting from a hitting standpoint, but
defensive.
Now you've got to put for defensive in a close ball game that you won by 2 runs, and it was iffy the whole time. I mean, you have to move Basayo over the first base. Has he ever played first base in the big leagues before? He's moving over the first base. I was surprised.
Did he get a couple innings last year? He might have got a couple. It wasn't enough, though.
But I thought it was interesting in a tight ball game like that to pinch hit Rutschman for Mountcastle, and now you've got to go 2 innings with Basayo. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is Rutschman going to first base? And the next thing I saw Rutschman behind the plate, and they said Basawas at first. I was like, are they going to put Mayo over at first and move Blaze and put Blaze at third base? Like, what are we going to do here? I thought that was iffy by Albie, and I'll tell you, I'm probably not going to question much of what Albie does the first half of the year. It's his first time managing at the big league level, and like he's going to have his ups and downs. He's going to take his bumps here and there. I want to see how he adjusts to managing at the big league level and the moves that he starts to make. But I did find it interesting to not start Mountcastle yesterday and start him today. Found it interesting to pinch hit Rutschman when Mountcastle's your best defensive first baseman, and your defense is already, not great. Have not been impressed too much with the Orioles defense to start. Gunnar made a big error in that 9th inning that could come back to hurt the ball club today. Wait, was it the 9th inning or was it the 8th inning? That he made the error.
It was the 9th.
Yeah. Gunnar off to a really slow start, man. What's he got? 9. I think he's got 6 strikeouts.
It's a good thing.
He's
going to catch fire.
Gunner's going.
He's going to catch fire.
He's absolutely good. He's absolutely going to catch fire. But to this point, what is it? 6 strikeouts and 12 at bats to start the year. Made that big error. Then he also got picked off today with Pete Alonso. With Pete Alonso hitting, that can't happen either, especially in a close game. For me, and I had Pete Alonso for pick to click today. So maybe he was going to hit a home run and Gunnar got picked off.
Needed a chance.
Yeah.
So I'll comment on a couple of things you said here. So Mountcastle, I think it was a tough call because he was also the only player on the roster who's ever had more than 2 career hits against Bailey Ober. So I think they probably waited to see, like, do we want to start him today and sit him tomorrow? Like, I think they took their chances on left-handed bats against Taz Bradley because lefties crushed him last year. Mm-hmm. It just didn't pan out. So I think they probably weighed that. I think the decision for Adley was kind of cool, in my opinion, because he didn't play it safe. He's aggressive, had confidence in Basayo to man first base the last 2 innings, which, hey, I love to see that. I love to see it. They didn't play the safe route, let Mountcastle hit because of his defense like we would have saw with Brandon Hyde and Mansolino. So that was kind of cool to me. But, Gunnar, we'll touch on him. So I knew today was going to be bad for him too. I think in his career against Ober was like 2 for 15 with like 7 strikeouts. Just doesn't see the ball very well from him. He's off to a rough start. He doesn't have good numbers against the Twins. So I think he's going to settle down a little bit. And I really feel like him, Pete, and Ward right now are just trying to please the fans with one swing. I think they all just need to kind of just relax. Like, just chill out. Just play some baseball. We know you're good ball players. And Gunnar, too. I mean, you kind of see him a little frustrated, slamming some stuff down and whatnot. And I like the emotion as long as it kind of stays there. Let's not let that keep becoming a normal thing. But look, dude, game 2, game 3 probably shouldn't be slamming the bat just yet. But I do get it. I do get it. He really wants to do big things, and I appreciate that out of him. And I think Albie does too. He commented on that. But he's just got to relax. He is that kind of guy that eats himself up over the little things. But it's why he's so good. But he's just got to take a little step back right now and maybe go talk to a veteran, Jim Palmer, Ben McDonald, somebody like that, J.J. Hardy, I don't care who it is, and just get that, just relax, buddy. Just relax. It's going to come. It's going to come. Mm-hmm. So you get him kind of going. Pete, God, I love Pete. Like you talked about, him just shortening up and just poking that ball to score a couple runs with 2 outs. Love it. Love everything about it. He's going to be there, and he's going to teach some other young guys to do the same thing. And it's amazing. That's what we signed him for, not just the home runs, but he's trying to hit a home run, So that's just all it is. These guys just got to relax a little bit. But it's hard. I mean, you're in front of your home fans. You signed a lot of money. Gunnar, we hear how great he is, and he wants a lot of money and this and that. Gunnar wants to be the guy, and they're just pressing. So just got to relax. And kind of the same things that Brandon Hyde talked about. Some of these guys just are trying too hard. But I think the right guys are in his ear. His error today, I think, was just a mental mistake. Ben talked about it. Kind of got caught in between. Kind of got caught a little flat-footed. Wasn't sure if he should back up, go forward. And it ate him up a little bit. But I don't think Gunnar makes that error again the rest of this year. It's just kind of how the guy he is. I bet you he takes 1,000 ground balls tomorrow with that same situation. He don't make that error again.
Yeah. And look, I'm not worried at all about Gunnar. After what we saw him do in the World Baseball Classic, and then also saw him get slighted time and again by DeRosa by not being in the lineup, despite Bregman struggling the entire tournament. And I think that there is something that I think that might be in the back of his mind. Like, I need to go out there and show the world, like, hey, this is why I should have been starting every game. I think there's something to it, and nobody's going to be harder on Gunnar than Gunnar. He's the guy. We're going to look up at the end of the year, and we're going to see he and Alonso with 35-plus home runs, 35-plus doubles, leading the way for this ball club. And I think it's a very good ball club. I also, Ward's going to get going at some point. How do you feel about the first 3 games? Ward, Gunnar, Alonso hitting 1, 2, 3. I get that Ward did that a lot, hit leadoff a lot the last couple seasons for the Angels. I don't know how much I love it. I said on Friday on the air that when I talked with Ryan and Nolan over at 105.7 that I didn't have a problem with it as long as Gunnar and Alonso are back to back wherever they are in the order.
Yeah.
But are you to the point through 3 games maybe we need to switch it up a little bit because none of these guys have really gotten it going, or are you okay with it moving forward?
I'd give them a couple weeks. I think the injuries have played a bigger part in this than we probably realize. Dylan Beavers was probably slated to get some at-bats up there, and then started the season. We weren't sure the status of his knee, so maybe they're taking it easy on him a little bit. Now you have Holiday missed the game. I think, Westberg has had some time at leadoff before, so I think they lost the 3 guys that they probably were going to use at this point. And then you just looked at Ward as like, he's a veteran. He's done this before, almost 800 career bats. Let's try it out, see how it works for a while. I don't think we're going to see Gunnar lead off for a while, at least. Gunnar drives and runs. But that's the thing, is Ward drives and runs too. And so does Pete. So, you want them somewhere close to each other, ideally probably 3, 4, 5. But you don't really have you don't have a leadoff hitter at all. And I kind of talked about it a little bit this morning. I ended up deleting it because I knew it was just going to cause some crap. But, 20 of Gunnar's home runs in 2024 were solos. So, he really hit when there was no, a lot of his at-bats were, I think it was 380 at-bats were with bases empty.
Wow.
Do we want Gunnar Henderson to have 380 bats with nobody on?
Absolutely not.
Right. And I know it's usually, leading off just once a game, but the bottom of our lineup wasn't good enough to get on in front of Gunnar. And you would think that Taylor Ward is, right? At least one guy. Right now he hasn't been, but he's drawing some walks. He's taking some pitches and he's hit a couple balls hard. So the results aren't there, but I think he's doing okay in the position. He doesn't look terrible. He's not swinging through and striking out in 3 pitches kind of thing. He's doing his job up there and seeing pitches and walking, but I don't think they have a good, clear-cut leadoff unless it's going to be Dylan Beavers eventually. But Dylan's got some stuff. He's a rookie. It's a lot to put on a rookie. So I don't think they want to just throw him to the fire just yet either. So, I think they're just kind of sticking with guys that have been there and done that for a little bit. Maybe they put Gunnar there, but I want Gunnar Henderson up with runners in scoring position, or at least a guy on, in my opinion.
Well, and look, Ward walked 75 times last year, 63 times the year before that.
He's already got, 4 this year?
He's got 2. Or did he have a walk today?
He had 3. Don't quote me on that.
I know he had a walk, and I know he had a hit today. But I don't know if he had 2 walks. But I know he had a walk and a hit today at least. Look,
just one.
He's gonna get. Yeah, he's gonna take his walks. Never really posts a high. 2022, he had a 360 on base percentage, but he also hit 281 that year. Right. In the last 2 years, you're looking 323, 317. Because he's getting a lot of at bats. He's also Wow, he had 663 plate appearances back-to-back seasons. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But he's going to take his walks. He's also going to strike out a fair amount, and he's going to make a lot of outs too. So I don't really have too much of an issue with it. I wouldn't be surprised to see them continue it for a while. I don't look at Taylor Ward because he doesn't really have speed. He's a power guy who drives in runs, like you said, but he also takes his walks, so I can see why they would put him up at the top of the order. At some point, though, I think you're going to see somebody else who's a more prototypical leadoff hitter. Maybe once Holiday comes back, once Beavers kind of gets going, maybe you see Kowser if he gets off to a decent start this year, takes some at-bats from the leadoff spot. I don't know how long it's going to last, but it's okay for now. I do agree with you. Gunner's a run producer. It's interesting to me that you have 300 RBI guys potentially at the top of your order, even though Gunner's never done it. You know he's going to.
I like what Quest Tech just said. Jeremiah Jackson at leadoff. I didn't even consider that. Jackson put some good at bats together.
Does not.
He can't run.
He does, but he doesn't. He doesn't really walk. And that's the thing. He doesn't really walk. So you want to have a guy that's going to get on base.
Yeah, he's very aggressive early in the account. But I mean, it kind of goes back to just not having that guy. So I think I think they're just content with Ward. And you and I talked about it last week with Albie probably going to kind of rely on his veterans early, and this could just would that be? He could just be relying on a guy that's done it before because they don't have anybody.
And I think that we all expect it to be Holiday at some point, but to O's edit's point, his average was way too low last year. He didn't really start walking a good bit until towards the end of the season. For me, I think it eventually ends up being Holiday more often than not, but he's got to prove this is the year he's got to come out here and prove that he was worthy of that first overall pick and start making better contact, start taking better at bats and get on base. And then I think he's going to be the guy because he's fast too. So today's show brought to you by the Press Box print issue. These are the final days of this print issue of Press Box. On the cover, Dave Ginsburg looks at Cal Ripken Jr.'s new life at 65, including his role with the Orioles ownership group. Also inside, we learned about new Ravens coach Jesse Minter and meet college lacrosse players from all of the area's programs. You can find the new issue for free all throughout the region, including at all Baltimore area High's dairy stores, or you can read the entire issue at PressBoxOnline.com. Something we haven't really discussed, we mentioned it in passing. Shane Baz signs a 5-year, $68 million contract extension with the Orioles to buy out a couple of arbitration years before he ever throws a pitch for the ball club. And he goes out today, gives up 4 runs in the second, but had 4 in the third clean innings aside from that inning. Your thoughts on the Shane Baz extension? Did the Orioles kind of get a steal here if he is what we think he can be?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, you're paying a guy less than $20 million a year to be a top of the rotation starter, and I say that as a 3 or higher for the next three seasons. It's $1 million this year. He was supposed to be 3.5, so they turned it into a $1 million salary this year with a $4 million signing bonus, so he gets it all up front. Good for him. And then, the next 2 years, you're less than $15 million for a guy who could be pretty freaking good. And then you pay him at 20 and I think 25 the final 2 years, which is about the first year. That fourth year is still less than a qualifying offer, and then just above a qualifying offer right now. So, and by then the qualifying offer I think is going to be like 27 probably. We can probably think so. So you're getting this guy who has top of the rotation stuff for less than a qualifying offer for 5 years in a row, which is incredible. Big steal. So he still got some learning to do. We didn't have his best stuff today, but again, I was still happy with the fact that he was able to complete 5, kept the team in the game, buckled down, really didn't give up too much hard contact again. He could have imploded. We saw plenty of times last year. Yeah. Guys imploded really quickly. No, he kept team in the ball game, and you got to love that, especially in your first home start. And I think a lot of it too, and I was sitting there thinking about it, I'm like, man, this guy just got a nice contract extension. He was already probably amped up coming here to show him he's the guy, and then he gets this, and then he comes out and he has that 9-pitch first inning, and I feel like his adrenaline was through the roof, and then he had to sit. And then he had to sit and come back out, and then he just couldn't get back to that same level. And I think that's why he got hit around that second inning. And then it was like, okay, now I'm pissed. So the adrenaline came back a little bit, and then he settled down. But it's a tough thing to do, and it's why a lot of relievers don't typically pitch 2 innings. Some teams do, but some guys, they get all amped up, and then they sit, and then they can't get back there anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So, and it could have been the same thing. I'm not making an excuse for the guy, but it could have been. Just really amped up for the city and stuff like that, and had a stellar first 9 pitches, and then just kind of maybe died off a little bit. I don't know, but all in all, I think he showed he's got some good stuff. That knuckle curve is stupid. The fastball is stupid. The command wasn't even there today at all.
Mm-hmm.
Compared, like, he was mainly, you and I were talking about, he was over 70. He was almost 80% strikes thrown in spring training, and it wasn't even close to that today. So, like, everything was just a little off for everybody. So I'm not gonna read too much into everything.
And like you said, only the 3rd time that he's ever pitched in sub 60-degree temperatures, and it was windy today. I think that the high reached 56 at one point, maybe, but it's also windy, so it's probably a little bit chilly out there. Like, I'm not reading too much into it. These first few starts, like, it's you can't glean anything off off the first week or so of the baseball season. Look, and we learned the hard way last year that these games count just as much as the games in August and September. But you're not going to hit your stride, and that
you don't want to this early.
Exactly. A lot of these guys are going to figure things out, and then it's also going to warm up and get pretty humid here, and then you're going to see guys like Pete Alonso who hit that fly ball to the warning track on opening day. That ball's probably gone 2-3 months from now. So
the humidity picks up.
Yeah, it's really hard to judge what this team is going to be right now. What I will tell you is, last year the Orioles lose today.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%.
Last year the Orioles lose today.
Last year that game was over in the 3rd inning.
Yeah, last year they may lose the opening day game. They may get swept by the Twins, and there's been some people on here that were like, I think it was AJ who said, I can't believe that they didn't sweep a bad Twinkies team. And it's like, look, the Twins are well managed
last year.
Yeah, twice. And the Twins are a well managed, well coached ball club. They've got some decent veteran leadership. A lot of young guys in their lineup. They're not world beaters, but they played the game hard. They played the game hard this series. But I will say, they kind of left some stuff out there today. You saw Josh Bell get doubled off on a ground ball on a force out. He should not have been running on that ground ball to Mayo at third base. But they said he ran out of the baseline.
Did you see the replay though?
He was still on the infield dirt.
He was like completely like in the baseline.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even think Mayo pushed him maybe 3 inches.
But it was a stupid play on his part. And then Byron Buxton, he popped one up down the right field line. It didn't get caught, and instead of knowing where the ball was, he took a big turn around second base. But they were already throwing the ball into second base when he got there. So he makes that big turn.
He expected them to throw to third, and he was like, well, let me take a look and see where it's at.
And he turns around, and Gunner's got the ball. Yeah.
Great throw.
Gunner's got the ball, and it's like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, dead to right. So
that doesn't happen by Buxton often. He's a great base runner.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he absolutely is. You saw him take that extra base on that triple on opening day on a ball. What did you think of that play? Did you think that Ward played that lazily?
I think he probably didn't give it 1,000%. But then I think it took a different carom off the wall than he expected, and it was like, oh shit. But that happens to not going in and hustling the ball. But it was also the very first time he's probably ever seen a ball in that little wicked corner too. You can practice that all day long, but we know baseball, and baseball is going to bounce where it wants, when it wants, and you'll never replicate that again in practice. He probably assumed, and I bet you he'd say he'd probably take that back and maybe run a little bit harder, and he probably learned his lesson too. But again, that kind of thing doesn't happen very often. It's not something you can practice to like, okay, I need to be here when it hits off of there. Like right field, you know where it's going when it hits off of something. But like left field, like with these dimensions, with the spin and stuff like that, like good luck, because one time it could spin the same way and just hit and drop, and then another time it could hit and just boom, it's going to the left.
Right. Well, and the thing is that him chasing after the ball had no issue with how. I mean, what's he supposed to do? He doesn't know how it's going to go. He doesn't want to overrun it if it takes a weird carom, like you said. It was the throw in, right? The throw in guy like Buxton who has that blazing speed. I think he's got a 30 feet per second sprint speed. When a guy like that is running the bases, you've got to get that ball in. The throw, in my opinion, was lazy, and there's a reason that Buxton ended up on third base. And maybe he's safe anyway, but I just thought it was a very lazy throw. It ended up not really. I mean, they ended up scoring that run, but it wasn't a big deal because they still won the ball game. But I don't think he's going to do that again.
That was his MO coming out of LA. Was a lot of people said that he plays some pretty lazy defense. But yeah, I think this is a little bit different of a coaching staff too. So I think that was a one and done thing.
Yeah, I remember Aaron Hicks lollygagging after baseballs, and people being like, "Oh, well, he's hurt. He's trying to save his hamstring," but then he had no problem running as hard as he could to try and beat out an infield single. That's just as important as tracking down a ball that shouldn't be a double and turning it into one. So I didn't get that feeling from Ward. I just felt like he didn't know how to play the ball, and then the throw was a little lazy, on my opinion.
It was a pissy throw. Yeah, he was pissed that he misplayed it, and but it happens. I think we don't see that too much again. Maybe once in a while, but not often.
Yeah. Hopefully not in a costly moment in the game, for sure. Today's show brought to you by County Sports Zone. We're well in the spring sports season at the high school level, and remember that all year you can find score schedules and updates for every sport in every school all throughout the state at countysports.zone. Countysports.zone is proudly sponsored by your local Toyota dealer and buyatoyota.com. Orioles got the Rangers coming to town for 3 tomorrow. They're facing off. It's going to be Chris Bassett making his Orioles debut against Mark Leiter for the Rangers. Jack Leiter, right?
Yep.
Yeah, Jack Leiter for the Rangers. It's TBD for the Rangers. The next 2 starts, it'll be Zach Eflin and Trevor Rogers to round out the series. We know that Jacob deGrom got scratched from his first start. They said he'll probably debut sometime on the road trip. It might be Nathan Eovaldi, who has torched the Orioles in his career. Not a great start in his season debut this year, but he had the lowest ERA in baseball amongst starters, but he didn't have enough innings to qualify last year. I think his ERA was 1.7 something. Last year, pitching for the Rangers. Your thoughts on the series coming up? Any concerns that the Orioles might be overmatched against Texas? I don't think Texas is as good as they used to be, but they could face some formidable pitching this series.
They've always matched up pretty well against Texas, to be honest with you. I'm not too concerned. We finally get Minnesota out of here. Struggled them for 2 years, so I think we'll probably see some better Orioles baseball here coming up. I mean, we're just hoping for a good start out of Bassett. Don't let Texas's bats kind of get comfortable. I mean, Nimmo's pretty decent for them. Obviously, you know what you're getting out of. Why am I blanking on the shortstop right now? Golly,
Seager.
That's so stupid. Seager, yeah. Oof.
It's 9:40 on a Sunday night, man. And we got kids.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah, I mean, they've got some good bats still. You can't just go in there and just expect to win. But we got a good ball club, and I think they're going to be ready to roll. Get Minnesota out of town. I think they're going to be ready. But we'll see. Little update for you, Jackson Holiday, 0 for 6 with 4 strikeouts so far in AAA.
He never played in a game in spring training. This is his spring training.
Yeah.
I expect his rehab stint with AAA the last 2 weeks minimum.
Yeah. Dino hasn't pitched yet, which is odd.
Yeah, that's surprising.
Still got some walks. Levi Wells pitched well today, but gave up 1 run, 2 walks. Trey Gibson's got 5 walks already. Chase McDermott had 2 walks today.
Trey Gibson was not good the other night. That game their opener was on Masson on Friday, and he wasn't good.
Yeah, it happens. Early. It's early. The International League it's so odd because we get really excited about our guys in the International League hitting wise. And then they come here and struggle, and people are always like, well, why? Well, the International League. It's a straight-up hitters league, and pitching numbers are stupid. They're always inflated. The hitting numbers are always inflated. Speaking of, I don't know if you noticed, we traded for an outfielder today from Cleveland.
I saw that.
Yeah, so he was the 2024 International League MVP. In his last 2 seasons, I think he's got 56 home runs and 193 RBIs. Good ball player. Just Cleveland had no room for him in the outfield. I don't think we do either, but
I look at it as you broke up a lot there, but I look at it as they've got depth with him. He hits for high average, hits for high OPS. His on base percentage has been high. I think it's 29 home runs each of the last 2 years at AAA. I mean, he got, I think, 70 big league games. I think, or I'm
he was
sorry,
their 13th ranked prospect, I think.
League at bats. I don't have an issue with it if it's a guy. I'm all for having guys in the organization that can play. I don't care what position you play. I don't care, what you do. If you can hit, they'll find a spot for you. Mm-hmm. And the guy's got monstrous power, so they are obviously looking at him. Because again, what if this guy tears it up at AAA, and then it's like, do we give this guy a shot here towards maybe we call him up if there's an injury? Taylor Ward's only here for 1 season before you have to think about either extending him or letting him leave in free agency. It's not the worst thing in the world to bring in a guy with that kind of power and that kind of slash line at the AAA level and see if it's just he hasn't figured it out yet. It's the same reason Janelski Noel is here.
Yeah.
He hasn't figured out the big league level, but he's got light tower power. So I did see that they traded a reliever that I've never heard of to pick that guy up.
Yeah, Chris Rust or something like that. I forget what it was.
Well, yeah, I can't Rusov or something like that. I can't even remember his name. But I
tell you
never
what level he is.
So, yeah, exactly. So. But yeah, Orioles taking on Texas here in the next 3 games. Hopefully the bats can kind of feed off what they did yesterday. Interesting tidbit that Pete Alonso has never gone more than 4 games to start a season without hitting a home run. So we'll see if he can get off the schneid there tomorrow. We'll see if Gunnar's bat gets going here. This team's going to hit. I have no doubts that this team is going to hit. Adley's been hitting. Adley's been tearing the cover off the ball to start the year, so you like to see that. Do you have an issue with him hitting 4th for this team?
I remember we talked about I liked Adley leadoff. But look, if he's going to hit right now, I don't care where he hits. I really don't care. Just put him somewhere, let him protect somebody, and just go from there. If he's going to keep hitting in the 4-hole, keep him there because it's working. But if you want to try him at leadoff because you don't want Taylor Ward there, I'm okay with that too. I don't really care. I'm just glad to see him kind of feeling confident again and taking some good hacks. I'm kind of looking at Gunnar's number here against Texas, hoping that maybe he'll figure it out a little bit. But his career, he's had 17 games against Texas. He's a .235 hitter with just 2 home runs, with 23 Ks in 74 bats. So 25% strikeout rate or 31% K rate. I'm sorry, for Gunnar Henderson against the Rangers in his career. So it might be a really slow start to Gunnar's season this year. So it's whatever. Well, it's whatever to me. He's not going to stay like that. We know that.
Tomorrow they're going to be pushing 70 degrees. Going to be 80 degrees on Tuesday, 82 on Wednesday. So, looking like on Wednesday, I'm wondering if they're going to get the game in because there's going to be a significant amount of rain on Wednesday. But the warmer weather's going to be coming in. Hopefully they can get the bats going a little bit. Today's show has been brought to you by Live Casino. There's still 1 weekend of Mania remaining, even if March is coming to a close. A better place to watch the tournament than Inside Sports and Social at Live Casino and Hotel. Great giveaways, 100-foot media wall, and incredible food and drink specials. So book your table today. You've been into the basketball tournament at all?
I haven't watched a single second. Usually I do. I just haven't even turned it on.
Me either. I think
care. It's fine.
Although Duke lost in tragic fashion today. They had a 72-70 lead. They were like 3 seconds left on the clock. They inbound the ball. 7 seconds left on the clock. They inbound the ball. It gets tipped on a pass that if they get the pass over the guy's hands for UConn, game's over. Instead, dude hits like a 40-foot 3-pointer with 0.3 seconds left to win the game. Like, you love seeing Duke go home crying.
Yes.
Me personally.
Yes.
Anyway. Did you see that play at all?
No, I think somebody texted to me. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet.
It was definitely awesome.
Was that Braylon Mullins or something?
It was definitely awesome. Somebody put this up here. Yeah, that was his name. I don't know who any. I mean, he could have been Cedric Mullins for all I know. I don't know who anybody is on any of these teams. But Quest Tech 7148 said Bradish was 98 before the injury. He in the top 95 yesterday. Hopefully he regains arm strength. I saw him touching 97 last year when he came back, and pitching in the cold early in the year. I'm not surprised that he's not, especially because he doesn't really need to. His game isn't velocity. His game is movement. And his slider when he's on is one of the nastiest in baseball. The fastball velocity, it's going to be there, especially as it warms up and the arm gets looser and looser and looser. I'm not concerned about Bradish's velocity. Orioles fan KY, not talking down on Gunnar, man, he just swings at balls in the clutch moments. I mean, they showed him last year with guys on base, he hit 309. And with guys not on base, I think he hit like 240 something. So, I mean, that's unequivocally not true. It just feels like it because he's Gunnar.
Right.
So when Gunnar comes up in a big spot, you expect him to get it done every single time, right? So then when he doesn't, you remember it more because it's Gunnar. But Gunnar gets the job done more than just about anybody else. He led your team. He hit close to 400 last year with runners in scoring position. He didn't have the power last year, but he put up a 5.4 reason. Like, his clutch stats last year were off the charts. So I have no issues with it. AJ puts his lineup. I like Beavers, Ward, Gunnar, Alonso, O'Neill, Basayo, Adley, Mayo, Blaze. I think Mayo's going to hit so much better than DeWarm batting him 8th. I look at Taylor Ward, and nothing about him says to me he should be hitting any higher than 5th. Like, if you want to bat him leadoff for now, I get it because he walks a lot, but he also strikes out a lot, doesn't hit for incredibly high average, so that those on base numbers are a little lower than they should be for somebody who walks as much as he does. For me, Ward should be your 5 hitter, not your 1 or your 2 hitter, and he certainly shouldn't be your 3 hitter. Gunner's going to hit in the top 3 all year. Beavers, I think, has a great opportunity to earn his way, and he showed me a lot today. A rookie ball player coming through with that big 2-run double today, and the way that at-bat went. I mean, he was down 0-2 before you could blink in that at-bat, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, he's going to strike out. And then he took one out of the catcher's mitt. He spit on some pitches, and then he got his pitch, and he laced it for a 2-run double. And I'm like, man, this is a kid who's just getting his first, extended taste at the big league level. Beavers could earn his way to that top spot in the lineup. Alonso's going to hit, 3 or 4 all year. O'Neill has been, the fact that we're not talking about Tyler O'Neill, I think, is like, he had the biggest hit of the game really today. He had that big 3-run homer to get the scoring starter for the Orioles, and the fact that we're not talking about him as much tells me that he's doing exactly what you need him to do. He's putting the bat on the ball. He's coming through with some big hits. I mean, he had that big hit to get Basayo over to third base on opening day that led to the first run and helped get the Orioles that win. He also had that big blunder in right field, but Pete Alonso also didn't see that ball off the bat. Blaze had a hard time getting over there, and Alonso just overran it. But look, this lineup's going to hit. They're going to score. I haven't been too impressed with Basayo as a bats recently. He has a couple of hits to start the year, but I also feel like he's been chasing a lot. I want to see him take a little bit more patient at bats. This ain't spring training, so you're not going to get cookies, every game. So I want to see him take a little bit more patient at bats, be more aware of the situation, stop trying to pull everything. There were a couple of baseballs that he swung at today where if he just goes with the pitch and he hits it to left field, he really helps the ball club, and he was trying to pull and crush everything. Yep. And that's a young guy buying into his own hype a little bit, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing. He's a 21-year-old kid who wants to do damage to the baseball every time he comes up to the plate, and understanding that if you just stay within yourself, you're going to do damage to the baseball naturally. But this lineup is going to hit, and they're going to score. Do you find it interesting at all that Jeremiah Jackson has started the last 2 games at second base instead of Blaze?
Not really. Because you knew the kid could hit. and he's seeing the ball well, and he's putting the ball in play. And I mean, maybe second base surprises me a little bit. But I mean, like you said earlier, if you hit, they're going to find a spot for you. And right now, that spot is at second base. But it kind of frees up a little bit too with Blaze, because you brought him here to be a utility player who can play outfield, and it gave you options to maybe pinch hit or pinch run for an outfielder. Maybe if Ward got one late or something, Blaze could have came in, because he's played a little bit of left field, and I trust Blaze more than Jeremiah in the outfield. So I just think that this lineup and this roster is constructed right now where you can do odd things like this, because you still have enough depth on the bench to, and we saw it today, piece together a pretty good defensive lineup and finish a game out. And what was it, the day before too, like when they used a lot of people, like Tavares came in and stuff, or was that today? I can't. It's all mixed.
That was today that Tavares came in. Let me.
Tavares came in twice,
I was actually
right?
about to talk about. So Tavares came in today to play center field in place of Beavers. Were you surprised at all that they left Ward in left field instead of bringing in Calzo to play left field, and that they left O'Neill in right field? I'm surprised they didn't move Beavers over the. All right, buddy, I hear you. Were you surprised?
He does that every time.
Beavers moving Beavers over the right, putting Calzo in left and Tavares in center field.
You would think so. Yeah, I don't understand why Calzer didn't come in, but somebody asked me, and I didn't know it, is Calzer hurt? I mean, I don't know if he is or not. I mean, you would think that Calzer is going to come in and play, but I don't know.
I mean,
that was odd.
Did he get hurt yesterday? They were facing the righty today, but maybe they just wanted to get Beavers a start in center field. Sunday lineups, even at the beginning of the year, are going to be what they are. But you look at the Sunday lineup that they posted, and they still put a bunch of good bats in that lineup today, and they had their biggest offensive outbreak of the year through 3 games. So
it's funny. We always complain about the Sunday lineups, and they still always put up runs. Hold on.
Right, and I stopped complaining about the lineups after 2022. 2022, it was clear the last third of the season that these were kind of punt lineups. Talking to you all now, Zach can't hear me obviously, but like it was clear to me that they were punt lineups in 2022. 2023, the team wins 101 games. It's hard to complain about anything. 24, Zach, I was just telling our listeners, 2022, I complained a lot, especially the last third of the season, about the Orioles lineups because I just felt like Brandon Hyde managed poorly the last third of the year. And stopped, and he wasn't he should have been trying to. They had a series against Pittsburgh that marked game 108 for them, and they needed to sweep. And the Blue Jays were trailing the Blue Jays by a couple games for the wild card, and the Blue Jays were out in LA beating the brakes off of a bad A's team to sweep them. And the Orioles ended up batting 3 guys who were hitting well below 200 in that lineup, playing Rougned Odor at third base, and they lost that game 8-1. And I thought that was a big difference maker in the season at that point. Yeah. But 2020, and I was saying in 2023, you win 101 games. You bitch about something. You're just bitching just to bitch. You know what I mean? Yeah. 24, the lineup wasn't too great, but I really kind of stopped bitching about the lineups after 2022. And you're not going to see me bitch about this lineup because no matter who you put out there, it's somebody that can hit. You're going to have a lineup with 9 guys that can hit just about every game. And I mean, even Blaze Alexander has 2 hits and 4 at-bats. Jeremiah Jackson has 3 hits and 7 at-bats. You're not going to hear me complain about these guys and the way that they're lined up this year, because no matter who you put where, it's going to be a good lineup. I feel like so.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to get into before we get out of here?
No, I had to open the pickle jar for my wife.
Oh.
That's why the dog freaked out, because she came down the steps and he wasn't used to that.
That's
pretty funny.
I'll
answer AJ here. So he's So AJ, he's a Shepherd, a Shar-Pei mix. So he's an oddball there. He's a good dude. Good dog. I'm lying. He's bad. But he's a good dog.
He
barks at everything that moves.
Oh my gosh, our dog Bruce. He's 100. He was 124-pound yellow lab. Now he's about 110 pounds, and if he hears a noise, he's
Yep.
barking. But he doesn't. Otherwise he doesn't really bark all that much. It just is always in an opportune time. It's almost always when our daughter is sleeping. But dogs are awesome. So you're never gonna hear either one of us.
You heard it right
complain
there. I about pooped my pants there. I wasn't expecting that.
about it. I wasn't expecting either.
He'll do it in the middle of the night too, like 3 a.m.
But that's the thing. We never hear Bruce bark in the middle of the night. That's one thing I will say. Because he's too busy. He's zonked out on the couch anyway.
Yeah.
If you get a yellow lab, your couch is no longer your couch, and just deal with the hair because
Yes.
it just is what it is. Today's show has been brought to you by Leading Edge Auto Body. Your car is more than just a ride, it's an investment. At Leading Edge Auto Body in Mount Washington, customer satisfaction comes first. Their team holds the highest honors in the industry, including ASE Master, iCar Platinum, and specialized aluminum certifications. And they make it easy with free towing, pickup, and delivery. Find out more at leadingedautobody.com. Anything else you want to get into before we get out of here, man?
It doesn't matter what platform you're on. If you guys just hit the like button for us, it just helps us out. And we truly appreciate every one of you that took the time to listen to us tonight. But other than that, no. Go O's. I think we'll see a better series in Texas. And going to Pittsburgh, I'm concerned about that because we seem to never play well in Pittsburgh. So we'll see how the start of this season goes. I don't think it's as easy as people think, but I think Texas would be a fairly good series here. I think we should go 2-1 again.
Unless we got to face DeGrom and Eovaldi. That scares the pants off me. But I think we're going to miss Skeens out in Pittsburgh because he got lit up on opening day, by the way. But we might face him at the end of the series, potentially, out there in Pittsburgh. But you've got Texas at home for 3. Then you headed out to Pittsburgh. I think you're off on Thursday. And then you have a 3-game series over the weekend out in Pittsburgh. Look, just keep winning the series. That's all you got to do. Win the series, and the rest takes care of itself. Orioles did that today. Hopefully this is the start of good things to come in a really fun Orioles season. Like Zach said, hit the like, share, subscribe button for us. Get us more viewership. We love talking Orioles baseball with you and anyone that we can. So we're going to be here every Sunday night for the remainder of the season at 8:30, at least until football season starts, and we'll move back to some other time. But yeah. Go O's. Thank you to all of our listeners, viewers, subscribers. Without you, we do not have a show. Thank you to all of our sponsors. We do not have a show without you. Until next week, see ya!